YouTube? We are back with another video, and today we're going to be doing something different. We're going to be taking a look at my monster fish. In fact, we're going to be starting a new series that takes a look at the monster fish I have and does a bit of an in-depth review of them. So we're going to be talking about, other than their size, what makes them a monster fish, what other cool quirks and features they have, their diets, temperaments, what you can and can't keep them with, and if a monster fish is right for you. So today we're going to be taking a look at my Bichirs. They are the first monster fish I got, and I think they are one of the coolest monster fish anybody could actually own. So the Bichir, Bichir, there are many ways of saying this, but I say Bichir, belongs to the Polyipteridae family. Therefore, Polyipterus, whatever the name is. So, can you actually consider Bichirs monster fish? I say yes. Not only do they range in size from between 14 to 30 inches depending on what species of Bichir you have, which makes them pretty big. They're somewhat aggressive, semi-aggressive, so they have a tendency to be semi-aggressive, which puts them in the category of monster fish. Not only that, they also look freaking awesome. It's like opening up a book on dinosaurs and you can literally pull this thing out of there. The Polyipterus is about 60 million years old, which makes it bloody old. So it gets big, it has a big meat-eating diet, and it looks as if it's come out of the Jurassic. So if those three conditions don't meet your conditions for monster fish, you need to change that. But yeah, these fish are super awesome. They live for a decently long period of time. They live for about 20 years in captivity. They're not the quickest growers in the world. They will grow about 2 to 3 centimeters a month in the first year. And they'll slow down their growth, so it does take a couple of years for them to reach the maximum size. When they do reach their full growth, you will need to keep them in a minimum of a 19-gallon tank, because 14 inches is still over a foot, and then 30 inches is nearly pushing 3 feet, 2.5 feet. And they make really good fish in the sense that you can keep them with other monster fish or other larger fish, because the Bichir inhabits mainly the lower regions of the tank. So you'll see them swimming along the bottom. Occasionally they'll come to the top to take a sip of air, but that's really it. So you're able to have more fish in the tank with them because they inhabit one part of the tank. Fairly easy to take care of. They don't really require any special sort of treatment other than you leave a bit of space between the top of the tank and the water so that they can come up for air. But yeah, so they prefer water that's around 25 to 27 degrees Celsius with a pH of 6.5 to 7.5. I mean, it can swing a bit. These are generally hardy fish, and there isn't really anything to say that they need top quality water. I mean, they do need good water. Please don't say that means that you should be neglecting your water duties, but they can take on some pretty nasty water. Yeah, so like I said, they do need a bit of space for them to go and take in air. Actually, if they don't get air, they are likely to drown. They have a modified swim bladder or modified lung that allows them to take air through spiracles, which are situated on the top back portion of their head. And this ability to breathe air means that they can also come out of the water. So when water conditions get really poor in whatever lakes or rivers they come up in, or during the dry season when the riverbeds start to shrink, they can pretty much crawl over the ground and find a new source of water. In fact, these powerful pectoral fins that they have are what allows them to do this, and you usually see them moving with their pectoral fins and kind of like shimmering them to move across the tank. They don't really use their tails. I mean, when they do, they move really quick. but they sort of glide using their pectoral fins as rudders to push them along very gently. And you'll see them as well when they're smelling around for food. They'll kind of use their pectoral fins to kind of push their heads up a bit so they get a bit more range. Moving on to that, the Bichir has a very poor sense of eyesight. In fact, I've seen it multiple times where I've put food in the tank and the Bichir will swim past it, move it with its tail, smell it, and go back to the point where it was before it had moved it and try and eat the nothingness there because it can't actually see it. Even if it's right in front of it, it's unable to distinguish whether it's food or just an object in the tank. My Bichirs, they tend to eat sinking pellets. I use cichlid gold sinking pellets from Hikari. They like to eat shrimp, so just basic store-bought shrimp. Thaw it, cut it into small pieces so they can eat it and drop it in the tank. And occasionally bloodworms, whatever bloodworms manage to sink to the bottom, they'll also eat that. They are a carnivorous animal, like I've said, so they do eat lots of meat, and they require good pellets to help their digestive system and also to protect their organs. Another thing is what sort of substrate you have. So because they have such bad eyesight, they kind of mouth at where they think the food is. So if you have substrate that is around the same size as their food, they will swallow it, and that can do a really bad number on their insides. So you either have a finer substrate or a substrate that's too large for them to eat. In this tank, in the 120, I don't keep any substrate in there because I don't want to take any risks. So yeah, that is one thing to note. Also, another thing. These guys have massive poos. Massive, huge. Like, I did not expect them to have big poos, they do. So that means that you do need to do water changes at least once a week to keep up with them, because these guys make a big mess. In terms of diseases to look out for, because they swim along the bottom, they are susceptible to ick, because they're rubbing against the surfaces where the ick tends to grow. Ick, also known as white spot disease. Very common disease, very easily be treatable, but just keep an eye out for them because that is one of the more diseases they're susceptible to, but they don't have any other sort of diseases that you have to watch out for. But yeah, so I think Bichirs are pretty awesome animals. They've got these two little nostrils that kind of look like snouts that they use to smell around, and they have an excellent sense of smell. But yeah, you can keep them with a lot of different fish, so more or less anything that doesn't fit in their mouth is a good starting point, and something that isn't going to pick on them. So I'm keeping them with giant gouramis. I've kept them with paku, gar, and red-tailed catfish. You can keep them with Oscars, other types of large cichlids, peacock bass, flower horns. Yeah, they tend to be quite easygoing. They're quite cute, actually. They just tend to lie in the tank. I don't have many hiding spots in this tank, but they do tend to hide behind the air filter, the sponge filter, sorry. So it is good to have one place for them to hide, but once they are comfortable around the tank, they kind of just lay on the bottom or swim about, which is pretty cool. And that is really it for the Bichir. There isn't really much else to say. They're a really awesome fish. They look super cool. It's kind of like having a dragon mixed with a snake mixed with a fish in your tank because of the way it slithers when it swims. And it's got these ganoid scales that kind of look like armor. In fact, the Bichir that I have is a Delhaize Bichir. So it gets around 14 inches, and it's also called the armored Bichir or the dragon Bichir, dragonfish. So they have like many different names. They're a very interesting sort of fish to have. You wouldn't really look at these things and think, wow, that's a fish. You'd think of them and probably say, what is that? Because they're so oddly shaped. But anyways, that is the first episode of Monster Fish, of the Monster Fish series. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be doing one a week, just to do more of an in-depth look at monster fish in general. Yeah, so keep an eye out for the next video that drops next week, and thanks for watching. Alright, hopefully you guys are all staying safe, making sure nobody's going out socializing. Stay at home, watch these videos.